The New York Times is reporting that R. Kelly has been arrested on child pornography and other federal charges. The singer was taken into custody in Chicago by federal agents and accused in a 13-count indictment, officials said. R. Kelly is already under indictment in Chicago on state charges of aggravated sexual assault and abuse, was arrested Thursday night by federal agents on charges related to child pornography and other federal charges. Mr. Kelly was taken into custody over a 13-count indictment that includes enticement of a minor, obstruction of justice, in addition to child pornography charges. Federal prosecutors in Brooklyn are expected to unveil a separate indictment on Friday containing additional charges against Mr. Kelly, according to two law enforcement officials. In the indictment, Mr. Kelly is charged with 1 count of racketeering and 4 counts of violating the Mann Act, which prohibits transporting people across state lines for the purpose of prostitution. Mr. Kelly was the only person charged in the indictment, which identifies him as the leader of a racketeering enterprise, the official said. Mr. Kelly is scheduled to be arraigned on Friday in federal court in Chicago. Officials said he would ultimately be brought back to New York City to face charges, though the timing has yet to be determined. The federal charges, which officials said would be unsealed on Friday, deepened the legal trouble for Mr. Kelly, who has been dogged by allegations of sexual misconduct for decades, but was acquitted on state child pornography charges in 2008. Mr. Kelly, who is 52 years old, whose real name is Robert S. Kelly, also faced more than a dozen state felony charges related to sexual abuse accusations in Chicago involving 4 women, 3 of whom were underage at the time, prosecutors said. He was charged with 10 counts in February, with more state charges filed against him in May. He has pleaded not guilty to those charges. Mr. Kelly was arrested while walking his dog on Thursday night by New York detectives and federal agents from Homeland Security Investigations who built the case with the New York Police Department, officials said. Mr. Kelly's lawyer, Stephen Greenberg, said in a statement that Mr. Kelly was aware of the investigation and the charges were not a surprise. Mr. Greenberg also said that most of the charges appeared to stem from old allegations, some of which were made in the previous indictment. The statement added that Mr. Kelly and his lawyers look forward to his day in court, to the truth coming out, and to his vindication from what has been an unprecedented assault by others for their own personal gain. The long-standing accusations against Mr. Kelly received renewed attention in recent months. A 6-part documentary profiling some of his accusers aired in January, and Mr. Kelly's remarkable interview with Gayle King in March gripped the nation's attention. Suspicion has loomed over Mr. Kelly since his brief marriage in 1994 to singer Aaliyah, when she was only 15 years old. He was tried in 2008 on child pornography charges stemming from a 27-minute tape in which prosecutors said he had sex with and urinated on a teenage girl. He was acquitted on all counts after the girl declined to testify against him.